When people think of dragons, they usually imagine one thing: a giant, fire-breathing monster. But mythology gave us something much bigger than that. It gave us cursed treasure dragons, world serpents, storm gods, chaos beasts, and creatures so powerful they felt less like animals and more like disasters, divine rulers, or even the shape of reality itself. So this is not just a list of the deadliest dragons. This is a ranking of the most powerful dragon-like beings in mythology, based not only on combat but on mythic scale, divine status, destructive force, and control over nature or reality. And yes, this list includes more than classic Western dragons. It also includes world serpents, divine dragon gods, and legendary beings whose power goes far beyond claws and fire. So here are the 10 most powerful dragon-like beings in mythology. Welcome to Eastern and Western Legends. Here, we explore together the most mysterious myths, legends, and epic stories from both East and West. Number 10. Fafnir. Fafnir is not the biggest dragon on this list, but he is one of the most iconic. In Norse mythology, Fafnir was not even born a dragon. He became one. Driven by greed and cursed treasure, he transformed into a monstrous dragon to guard his gold. That already makes him different from many mythological dragons. He is not simply a beast of nature. He is corruption made flesh. A dragon created by greed, obsession, and the kind of wealth that poisons the soul. He had a nearly impenetrable body, deadly breath, and the terrifying aura of something no longer fully human. Fafnir may not be cosmic in scale, but he earns his place because he represents one of mythology's darkest truths. Sometimes, the dragon is what a person becomes when desire turns monstrous. Number 9. Ladon. If Fafnir is the dragon of corruption, Ladon is the dragon of sacred guardianship. In Greek mythology, Ladon guarded the golden apples of the Hesperides, one of the most precious and divine treasures in the mythic world. What makes Ladon powerful is not that he nearly destroyed the world. It is that he was trusted to guard one of the most protected objects in all of Greek myth. He is often described as many-headed, sleepless, and impossible to distract. That sleeplessness matters, because Ladon is not just a monster, he is vigilance itself, a dragon whose power is tied to divine treasure and eternal watchfulness. He stands at the boundary between mortals and sacred wealth, and that gives him a status far beyond an ordinary beast. Number 8. Nidhogg. Now we move into much darker territory. Nidhogg is not just a dragon that kills. Nidhogg is a dragon that rots the world from underneath. In Norse mythology, Nidhogg lurks below the world tree, Yggdrasil, gnawing at its roots. That image alone makes him one of the most terrifying dragon-like beings in mythology. Because he is not simply attacking life within the world, he is eroding the structure that holds the world together. He is tied to death, decay, and the long corruption of cosmic order. By the time Ragnarok arrives, Nidhogg is not merely another monster on the battlefield. He becomes one of the signs that the world itself has reached its breaking point. That is what makes his power so disturbing. Nidhogg does not feel like a dragon you fight. He feels like a force that silently waits for everything to collapse. Number 7. Yamata no Orochi. Yamata no Orochi feels less like an animal and more like a moving catastrophe. In Japanese mythology, this 8-headed, 8-tailed serpent dragon is so huge that its body stretches across valleys and mountains. Its appearance is horrifying enough, but what truly gives Orochi its power is the scale of disaster it represents. This is not a dragon that guards treasure, it devours lives. It arrives again and again like a curse that no one can stop. It takes a god-level figure like Susanoo to finally bring it down, and even then, only through strategy and deception. And inside its body lies one of Japan's great divine treasures, the sword later known as Kusanagi. That detail matters, because Orochi is not only destructive, it is mythically central. A dragon of blood, flood, catastrophe, and sacred consequence. Number 6. Kukulkan, also known as Quetzalcoatl. At this point, we stop talking about dragons as monsters and start talking about dragons as gods. Kukulkan, or Quetzalcoatl depending on the tradition, is the feathered serpent of Mesoamerican mythology. And unlike many dragons in world mythology, this is not fundamentally a destroyer. This is a divine being tied to wind, sky, rain, knowledge, civilization, and sacred order. That makes Kukulkan extraordinary. Because power in mythology is not only measured by what you can destroy, it is also measured by what you can create, teach, and sustain. And in that sense, the feathered serpent stands on a much higher level than ordinary dragon monsters. This is not a dragon hidden in a cave. This is a dragon-like god whose presence touches the structure of culture itself. A being linked not only to nature, but to human civilization. Number 5. Vritra. If Kukulkan is the dragon of life-giving power, Vritra is the dragon of withheld life. In Vedic mythology, Vritra is the great serpent or dragon associated with drought, obstruction, and darkness. His power is terrifying because it is not just personal violence, it is environmental domination. Vritra holds back the waters of the world. He traps the rivers, locks away the flow of life, and turns existence itself into suffocation. That is why he becomes one of Indra's greatest enemies. This is not simply a dragon that attacks villages. This is a dragon that can stop a civilization from surviving at all. That kind of power is far more frightening than ordinary combat, because if you control the waters, you do not just kill. You decide whether the world can go on living. Number 4. Yinglong. Yinglong is one of the most powerful dragon figures in Chinese mythology, and one of the clearest examples of a dragon that is more than a creature. It is a force of war, water, and divine intervention. Unlike the more serene image many people have of Chinese dragons, Yinglong carries the feeling of direct mythic action. Floods, battles, sky power, intervention on a grand scale. This is not just a dragon that symbolizes rain. This is a dragon-like power associated with immense action inside the mythic world. That matters because Yinglong stands between elemental force and battlefield legend. Not just a dragon king, not just a weather symbol, but a dragon whose power feels operational, active, and devastating. In mythic terms, Yinglong is one of the highest Eastern examples of dragon power merging with divine agency. Number 3. Jormungandr. Now we enter the true world-scale beings. Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, is so large that it encircles the world. At that point, the word dragon almost feels too small. This is no longer a monster living inside reality. This is a being wrapped around reality itself. Jormungandr is tied directly to Ragnarok, the final destruction of the Norse cosmos. When it rises from the sea, the world shakes. Its venom is so deadly that even Thor, one of the greatest gods in myth, kills it only at the cost of his own life. That is what makes Jormungandr one of the most powerful dragon-like beings ever imagined. Its body defines scale, its poison kills gods, and its existence is tied to the end of the world. That is no ordinary dragon. That is apocalypse with scales. Number 2. Leviathan. Leviathan feels less like a beast from the ocean and more like chaos itself beneath the sea. In the Hebrew and later Christian imagination, Leviathan becomes one of the great primordial monsters, a creature of terrifying size, invulnerable force, and overwhelming elemental presence. Its scales cannot be pierced. Its breath is linked with fire and smoke. Its movement makes the sea boil. And above all, it feels like something beyond human resistance. That is what places Leviathan so high on this list. This is not just a dragon-like creature you defeat with skill. It is a being representing primordial chaos, oceanic terror, and the kind of force only divine authority can truly overcome. Leviathan is not merely monstrous, it is mythologically absolute. A dragon of the deep whose power feels older than kingdoms, older than heroes, and closer to the raw violence of creation itself. Number 1. Zhulong. And at number 1, we have a being that no longer feels like a dragon in the ordinary sense at all. Zhulong, the torch dragon. Because Zhulong is not simply powerful in battle, Zhulong is powerful in the language of cosmic law. In Chinese mythology, Zhulong is described as a being whose very body is tied to the order of the world. When it opens its eyes, there is day. When it closes them, there is night. Its breath brings winter. Its presence is tied to light, darkness, season, and the rhythm of existence itself. That is what makes Zhulong the most powerful dragon-like being on this list. At this level, power is no longer just destruction. It is not just size. It is not just storm, poison, treasure, or death. It is reality-scale authority. Zhulong does not merely live in the world. It seems to participate in the rules by which the world functions. And once a dragon-like being reaches that level, it is no longer just mythic wildlife. It becomes something much closer to a cosmic principle. And that is why Zhulong takes the #1 spot, because the most powerful dragons in mythology are not just giant reptiles. They are greed turned monstrous, guardians of divine treasure, floods, droughts, world serpents, storm gods, primordial chaos, and even living symbols of cosmic law. That is why dragons remain one of the greatest mythic forms ever created, because at their highest level, they stop being animals and start becoming disasters, gods, and the shape of reality itself. So which dragon-like being do you think should have been #1? And who did I leave out? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy mythology, monsters, gods, world serpents, and the darker meanings hidden inside ancient legends, subscribe to the channel, because this is exactly the kind of story we explore here.